Hello and Happy New Year from the KUOW newsroom. This is Seattle Now, and it's the first news headline show of the year on the pod. I'm Paige Browning, back after a long winter's nap and full of news to tell you about tonight, starting with the arrest of Venezuela's president. It's Monday, January 5th, 2026. Is the U.S. embarking on a costly war, or is this a wise national security move? Washington's Congress members have sharply divided views on President Trump's move to seize Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro in a middle-of-the-night operation. Democratic Senator Patty Murray says in a statement that Maduro is a corrupt and oppressive dictator, but, she says, what stops China or Russia from making similar claims about foreign leaders they don't like and then using military force to overthrow them? Murray says she will absolutely not support a large-scale military conflict in Venezuela. And U.S. Representative Pramila Jayapal, also a Democrat, said the president has his priorities out of order.
Donald Trump can't run America. Now he wants to go run Venezuela while the American people can't afford health care, can't afford groceries. This is not what the American people want. This is not what is constitutional. This is not what is legal.
Her colleague, U.S. Representative Adam Smith, told CBS he doesn't buy the argument that this operation will help keep drugs out of the country.
Any argument that somehow changing the leader of Venezuela is going to dramatically shift the narco drug trafficking in the U.S. is just ludicrous.
The viewpoint from Republican Michael Baumgartner of Spokane is that this is a great day for the security of America and the people of Venezuela. He says Venezuelan dictator Maduro is a dangerous narco-terrorist who's now where he belongs, in a jail cell. Members of our local Venezuelan community say they are watching a precarious situation play out in the country after the ousting of leader Nicolas Maduro during a U.S. military raid. And as Noel Gasca reports, some are conflicted.
Graciela Núñez Pargas left Venezuela when she was 7. Now 31, she considers the United States her adopted home. Pargas says she does not support Maduro, but she's also concerned what the U.S.'s intervention in the country means for Venezuelans.
How can you hope when all you've known is like despair and chaos, whether at the hands of an authoritarian regime or at the hands of like military intervention?
Pargas says she can't even begin to envision Venezuela's future. She's just focused on its survival. For now, she hopes the world doesn't lose sight of Venezuelans' humanity. Noel Gasca, KUOW News.
In city politics news, the head of Seattle's largest police union will step aside next month. Scott Greenstone has the latest.
Mike Solon became president of the Seattle Police Officers Guild days before COVID lockdowns in 2020. Shuttering the union newspaper and replacing it with his podcast, Hold the Line, Solon became a high-profile critic of left-wing Seattle politics.
The socialists are taking over. Socialism has never worked.
On last week's episode, he said he's no longer seeking re-election. His term ends in February.
And we've been able to deliver 2 contracts to the cops that still work here. And for the future cops, it's been the honor of my career.
Solon said the podcast will continue. In the last 6 years, he's faced calls to resign over comments about the January 6th insurrection and a body cam video where he apparently joked with his union vice president about a woman struck and killed by a police cruiser. Scott Greenstone, KUOW News.
It's a new day in the city's legal office. The first ever African-American to serve as Seattle City Attorney was sworn in today. Erica Evans is also the first ever person of color to serve as Seattle City Attorney. Evans has practiced at the city and the federal level, and in March, she resigned from her role in the Department of Justice, citing antithetical changes in federal policy. Tomorrow, incoming council member Dion Foster is sworn in, and the council votes to choose its president. And if you really checked out over New Year's week, Seattle, you've got a new mayor. Katie Wilson was sworn in Friday as Seattle Mayor number 58. In her inaugural speech, Wilson talked about wanting to make the city more affordable, address homelessness, and ensure renters' rights. Several hundred supporters watched, and Wilson addressed them directly.
I'm going to need you to come back here again and again and again. Because the progress that we need to make is not just handed down from City Hall. Things have never been given to us without people organizing and demanding change from those in positions of power.
Wilson narrowly defeated Seattle's incumbent mayor, Bruce Harrell, in early November. With the new year starting, it's action time in Olympia. Bills getting filed, lawmakers prepping their teams, and it's another year of battling over youth and trans rights. Here's what to expect in the legislature. Next Monday, the 60-day short session starts and is shaping up as primarily a fight over money and taxes. Legislators are looking at a budget gap, but also want to find space to fund housing, public safety, and behavioral health. So to pay for it, Governor Bob Ferguson supports a so-called millionaire's tax on Washingtonians earning more than $1 million a year. Republicans have called that tax unconstitutional. Now to the youth issues. The conservative-backed group Let's Go Washington filed petition signatures last week to send two measures to lawmakers. One would prohibit trans girls and teens from competing in girls' sports. The second effectively restores a parental rights measure the group backed, which would allow parents to review kids' health records, visits to school therapists, and more. King County has its final special disaster center open today for people affected by the massive December flooding. The county has run disaster centers since last week for people to apply for financial assistance in person. Next week, Snohomish County will open 3 disaster centers, and people can also apply online through kcemergency.com. On New Year's Eve, Governor Ferguson sent National Guard members home who'd been patrolling the levees. They remain on standby. And speaking of Skagit County, the Skagit Valley is home to the largest tulip festival in North America. Hundreds of thousands of visitors flock to the candy-colored fields each spring, bringing millions in revenue. And the bulbs for this year's festival were already in the ground when record flooding hit last month. Monica Nicholsberg has more.
Anyone who grows tulips knows standing water is a recipe for bulb rot, which made the risk of rising floodwaters especially dire for tulip farmers. But to their relief, the flood wall held.
There might be a couple spots in one field or two that were a little lower that had some water, and tulips definitely don't like water, but for a majority, none of the fields were impacted.
Kristen Keltz is CEO of the Skagit Tourism Bureau.
We expect hopefully a normal year and beautiful fields as we have every year.
Skagit Valley retailers and restaurants did lose out on revenue during the crucial holiday shopping season, but that was mostly from evacuation orders, not long-term flood damage. Monica Nicholsberg, KUOW News.
Some news from Seattle's indie movie theater chain, SIFF. The Seattle International Film Festival is laying off 3 more people and doing some internal restructuring in the new year. The Seattle Times reports that SIFF will still operate its 3 venues and put on the 2026 festival, but that they've made steps to minimize the footprint of our programming in all areas. Good things are happening in Seattle sports. 4 Seattle hockey players are Olympics bound. USA Hockey has named to its 2026 women's roster Seattle Torrent forwards Hillary Knight, Alex Carpenter, and Hannah Bilka, and defender Kayla Barnes. Torrent captain Knight will be marking her 5th straight Olympic Games. Team USA has no Seattle Kraken players this year, but the Kraken's Capo Keiko and Eli Tolvanen will play for Finland's men's team. The women start competition in Milan Cortina on February 5th. And the Hawks have a lot of people happy right now. The Seattle Seahawks are heading into the playoffs with the NFC's #1 seed, guaranteeing them a first-round bye and a home playoff game. Seattle shut down the high-powered San Francisco offense in a 13-3 victory on Saturday. Seahawks quarterback Sam Darnold says playing at home in the playoffs will have a huge impact.
To be able to play in front of the 12s, it's unlike any other stadium that I've ever played in terms of, how loud it can be and how tough it can be for another offense to operate. So, we're really looking forward to playing at home for the playoffs.
Seattle's now 2 home wins away from going to the Super Bowl next month. Another quick bit of football news. The Las Vegas Raiders announced this morning on social media they have fired former Seahawks head coach Pete Carroll after one season. Carroll coached the Seahawks to 2 Super Bowls, winning 1. Next time on Seattle Now, the Seahawks are in position to make a Super Bowl run, and sports columnist Jerry Brewer isn't buying the narrative that quarterback Sam Darnold is a problem.
They are not winning in spite of Sam Darnold. As a matter of fact, I would say that Sam Darnold was the missing piece that took this from a team that could make the playoffs to one that is the number 1 team in the NFC.
Hear more Tuesday morning. That's all for today from the KUOW Newsroom in Seattle. Our producer is Vaughn Jones. I'm Paige Browning. Seattle Now and KUOW are members of the NPR network. Glad to be back with you as we start a new year together. Talk to you tomorrow.